Hi friends, this second video will be related to learn Git checkout with all the cases. So when I say the word second, it means that there is one other video that I released with the name Git checkout, but it was the version 1.0. In the version 2.0, we will learn about Git checkout with all the cases. If till date you haven't watched my playlist, then you can go to the YouTube and just type there my name, that is ER blah blah blah. This is my name, and then you can see my channel, and from the channel you go to the playlist, and from the playlist you can go to the Git. You will see all my videos that I have made in an order, where you will learn about the Git pull and the Git clone, push and the stash, merge, rebase, quash, ignore that doesn't work with the track files, discussing the Git questions on the Quora, learning the Git pull with all the cases, and now we are going to learn about the Git checkout with all the cases. I'm also adding this document along with this video in the description so that you can practically implement all the cases before going here, and you will find the links of all the videos with respect to the case from the document. So nothing to worry about. Okay, let's start it. So basically we know that Git checkout means what? That you are going to check out to a branch that we called as a Git checkout. But there are other combinations and the possibilities that I think you should learn so that your concepts on the Git checkout becomes more precise and clear. Let's discuss the first case. What is the relation between .gitignore and the Git checkout? And from here we will learn about the three cases. The first case, what happens if you add the file to .gitignore? Second, what happens if you make the changes in the added file in the gitignore in the same branch where the gitignore file is? Then we will make another concept that what happens if you make the changes in the file you added in the gitignore but in the different branch. And then we will discuss about why we are discussing a Git Stash with the Git checkout too. So this video is going to be fun, this video is going to be practical, and I'm going in a very slow way so that everyone can go with me in this video and understand all the steps in a very precise and clear way. Let's start the video with a enthusiastic spirit. Yes. Okay, for example, I am here and I write the word git branch. That means I am in the understanding merge. Suppose that I want to see all my branches. Okay, now try to understand that. For example, let's go to a branch git checkout to learn concepts merging. Perfect. So remember that when I shift to this branch, so there is no .gitignore file, so I will make it. Remember, I'm making the gitignore in this particular branch whose name was learning concepts merging. Let's write out here so that during the video we understand that where do we made it, so that there is no confusion at all. Okay, so step 1. So okay, .gitignore is made in learn concept merging branch. Perfect. Let's make it. Touch means to create the file gitignore. Bingo. So if you see that this file is created here, and let me add any file here so that this file can come into the .gitignore. Let's suppose this file is case git checkout .txt. Suppose this is the file I'm adding it. Bingo. That's a good name, case git checkout. And let me see the status when I added it. Okay, this says that this is untracked. Why to be in untracked? Let us make it to the track. Git add .gitignore, then git commit -m added gitignore file to understand git checkout. understand git checkout. Okay, git push. Let me push this file to the remote, and for that I need my credentials. This is my email and an SS token. Why we need an SS token? I also told this concept in the last video and also in the series, that for the GitHub now we don't need the password, we need the SS token. Now .gitignore file is being added to the remote and it is being committed. So it means if I create this file in this repository, what is the name of this file? Perfect. So sorry, I have created another file which was with the unnecessary name. Sorry, that was with the my SS token name. That was sorry about me. We need to create the file with the name as what we have represented in the gitignore. Let me copy that and paste it here. Bingo. Now if I make any change in this file here, and what the name of that file was, let me again go, it would be case git checkout.txt. You also see that the color of this file is not red, it is basically a green in shape. I would say it's light green, because this file shows that this is added in the gitignore, and hence if you make any changes in this file to this particular branch where the gitignore is added, you won't see any kind of untracking situations, because this file won't be tracked by the git. Let's prove it. Hey, we are learning git checkout with gitignore. Make sense? Git ignore. Okay, makes sense. Now if I see the git status of this file, you will see that this file case git checkout won't come in the untracked files. Why? Because we have added it to the gitignore. Now let's see the cases of the checkout. Let's go with the first case. The first case is that when you create a file into the gitignore, this file will be available to all the branches. Why? Because this is an untracked file, but it is present in your local system, hence it has to be available to all the branches. Let's check out git branch -r. Let's move to any other branch, git checkout to third branch. Okay, I have checked out the third branch. You will see that this file case git checkout.txt also available in this branch. If you see the git status of that, you will see that this particular file, git case git checkout.txt, that appears in the untracked file. But if you want to see this file in the .git to that branch where you have written the .gitignore file, you won't see it in the untracked file. Why? For example, if I move to that branch where I have created the .gitignore file, let me go to that branch. So now if I see git status, you have seen this file in another branch, but you haven't seen here. Why? Because in this particular branch you have created a .gitignore file and you have added this particular file to .gitignore, whereas for other branches, even though this file would be available, but this file would be in the untracked situation, and even if you do it like this, this will come into yellow or green color, which signifies that this file coming from the .gitignore. But if you just changes any file, let me tell you any other branch, git checkout. Let's do with the learning with the coding. Okay, now if you again do it, you will see this color becomes red in color. That means this is untracked file. So what is the reason behind that? Because in the branch learn concepts merging, we also have .gitignore file and we have added this file to that particular .gitignore. But in the other branches we don't have that file. So for other branches this will be in an untracked position. Now the second case is that if you make any changes in this file, from that branch where there is .gitignore file, you won't see it in the untracked. But if you make changes to this particular file from any other branch other than this branch, you will see that this file appears in the untracked, and it should appear, because this is the good concept, because for other branches our .gitignore file was missing because it was only added to this particular branch. So in a nutshell, what we can say that the case is quite simple. When you add a file to .gitignore, and then if you want to make any changes in that file, it is appropriate to make the changes in that branch where that .gitignore file was created. But if you make the changes to that particular file in any other branch, because this particular file would be available to all the other branches, such things will come in the untracked situations. So it is recommended you should make the changes to that branch where we have added a file in the .gitignore. That makes a lot of sense. Now, what is the use of the Git Stash when I'm talking about the Git checkout? Yes, that's a very good question. For example, if I see the Git status here, you will see that this particular file comes into the untracked, and if by chance I added it to the tracked one, and the name of file was that, what will happen? It will come to my staging area. Now if I just want that whatever the changes I made it, I just want to move it to the clipboard and then want to see it when I come back, what I can do is that I can just say git stash save my new added file. Okay, and if you do that and if you check the git status, this particular green, which is stage file, will be gone to the stash, so that whenever you want to again come back, then you can see git stash list and then git stash apply, and this one you can apply the stash number here. It's simple. Once you apply it, the changes will come back to again. So the only point I'm mentioning the git stash usage with the git checkout is that sometimes you check out to other branch where .gitignore file was not added. You make the changes in that file which was there in the gitignore but in the other branch, and you added it. In that way you can even stash that, you can make it come back, and even you can type here git restore staged and the name of the file, so it will again come back to its original position, which is it's in the untracked. So we have discussed some concepts of gitignore and git stash with the git checkout, and the concept is quite simple. You need to remember that when you add a .gitignore file to any branch and you added some files to .gitignore, then it is recommended that please make the changes to that .gitignore added files to that particular branch only, because if you make the changes to the files added in the .gitignore in other branches where .gitignore file is not present, then such changes will come into the untracked. Why it is coming to the untracked? So what's the reason behind that? The reason is that those branches misses .gitignore file, so that's why it comes into untracked. Then you can use the git stash. Git stash works for the added and the modified files, but unfortunately it won't work with the committed files. It's also very simple. And the last concept that we can discuss with the checkout is that if you add any file to the .gitignore, those files added in the gitignore will be available to all the branches that you have created for a particular repository. Now you understand all the cases with the git checkout. Along with that, you get a complementary of git ignore and the git stash. You understand where the git stash is going to work. You understand what type of do and do nots you need to carry out when you are adding the files to the .gitignore, and understanding with the checkout makes you more confident to use the git checkout. I hope you liked the video. Thank you. Bye bye.